It's nice to see you all. I'm so excited that this show is finally here. I feel like we've been talking about it for such a long time. But Wayne, thinking about August of last year, that's when, you wanted to come out more publicly and talk about being pansexual. How has it been? Because, we're fast approaching a year.
I didn't even realize that, but it's been great. It's been absolutely great. The response has been wonderful. So much love and so much support. And of course there are trolls and people are gonna feel the way that they do, and that's great. But the best thing is it just is.
Yeah.
My life has only changed internally, really. Like it hasn't been some it's been beautiful in its normalcy. That's what I'll say is the best part.
Mandie, I want to come to you because I love that, this show is bringing this idea of blended family, chosen family to the forefront, which I think is such an important conversation, and for people to see. What was it like for you to not only do that in your real life, but then to let cameras in to really see what it is like for this amazing blended family?
It was the closest thing I can compare this experience to is when I was 19. I had only known Wayne for 3 months. We were only dating for 1, and I had $1,000, got on a plane and moved to LA with him. And we lived in a studio apartment and didn't know a single person. That's what this felt like. It was like literally jumping off a cliff. But the thing is, we made a commitment to ourselves. And as producers, we committed to being real and transparent. And that's important as producers because the audience is so smart. They see right through the BS. The scary part is saying things that are vulnerable, that are real and cringy, and saying, we're gonna keep that in post because that's real, our truth. And we committed to doing a good job. So
no, it's so great. I love getting to see all parts of it. And Maile, we get to meet you. You are a young, fiery performer, many things. But what was it like to, get to see your dad, who I know you're so proud of, live this very authentic version, but then also to get to be a part of opening up, your world as this amazing unit to the rest of the world?
I mean, it's been such a joy. Of course, I'm very protective of my dad. So I was scared because I don't want to have to get into a fight physically or online with someone about my father. But the feedback was like overwhelmingly positive, and the queer community has welcomed him with such open arms and has always welcomed him with such open arms for as long as I can remember. And so much of our family, my godparents, are all part of the LGBTQIA community. And so I think that was just really beautiful to see, a really good opportunity to be the best ally I could be to my parents. And that way, in terms of welcoming people into our dynamic, I'm in college, so I think it's gonna be really weird for like my peers to watch me and then come to class the next day and probably ask me a bunch of questions about it. And also people are really mean, and I'm like, I hope people aren't like super mean to me. But I don't know, I feel like that's just a very natural human, like I'm just like, just be nice, like please, like, but who am I to talk, because I watch reality TV and judge people all the time. It's been a cool experience. I'm 21, like I'm kind of in my, I think I say I'm in my like physical prime. I say that on the show, but like honestly, I'm having the best time. This is super cool.
I love it. It is so fun to watch. And Jason, I want to come to you because what I love so much is I think especially for communities of color, seeing that family can be not just one thing or what you think it is, and really the way that you are such close and good friends with Wayne, your partner's ex-husband. I love that. What do you hope that, families or like I said, people, communities of color that tune into this series take away from it?
Yeah, I think more often than not, families are split, or you find yourself with a partner and they have a child, you know what I mean, or you are in some sort of co-parenting, dynamic, and it's and I think, my leaning is always like, what's the practical application of love? How do you actually live out love? Like I feel like it's conditional. I feel like, we have agreements with each other to work on ourselves, to go to therapy, to be able to show up, for each other in the best way, not to put each other down, all these kinds of things. Like it requires day-to-day work. And so, I hope that people can see that having family is an active thing. It's not like, okay, we're blood, we're family, and then you just sort of rest on your laurels. Like, we're very active with each other and how to be the best versions of ourselves for each other. And when you do that, you can have something that's fun and enjoyable, most often. So I hope that's sort of the takeaway, is that you can choose your family and then really strive to make that work.
Very well said. Wayne, we were so blessed to get to work with you, of course, at the GLAAD Media Awards, but even before that, shortly after you really publicly talked about being pansexual, you worked with us at the Spirit Day concert, which I'm so proud is going to be a part of this show. I don't want to spoil too much, but what was it like for you to, have this moment where you were talking about your identity, but then get to bring this family and be a part of this concert that really is just about supporting LGBTQ people, especially LGBTQ kids?
I was so proud, and I've been lucky to be a part of a lot of cool things, but to be part of that concert, which I hope that I can be a part of for many years to come, and not just that concert, but just being a part of GLAAD, because I think that's where so much of our trauma starts, is when you're younger. And who knows, maybe there would have been a world if I would have felt safer and understood myself a little earlier. Then if I would have felt it was a safe space, then maybe I could have come out earlier. Maybe I would have understood myself earlier. Maybe I wouldn't have operated from shame and fear like a lot of people do. A lot of decisions are made because you're afraid. Because you're afraid to come out, because you're afraid to be judged, you're afraid to be hurt. It would be nice to have a world where that didn't exist. So to be a part of GLAAD's mission, that's a really wonderful thing for me. So that day was great. And to be able to share my story and to share my family, man, it was a win-win.
I love
and
that.
You know that at the Spirit concert, one of my classmates unalived himself just that week.
Oh,
And
really?
so it wasn't something we were able to talk about when shooting the show, but that just made it so much more meaningful and so real that there's work to be done.
Listen, we will work together to make a better world and safer space for our youth, for sure. Maile, seeing your dad, I remember at the event that I got to be at with you all, you were so proud seeing him on stage in that moment after. What was it like to, see your dad on that stage, for the first time, really just being the most proud, authentic Wayne Brady that we've seen?
If I'm being honest, of course I was super proud to see my dad, but we are so enmeshed that anytime my dad's on stage, I get so scared. And I feel as if I'm on stage and I start mouthing the words. I always know all the words to the songs he's singing. And I'm keeping tally, okay, he made it past first verse. Okay, he's gonna say this word right. And then I don't know, I feel again, this has been such a normal reality for me. I think that when he's just my dad. You know what I mean? Maybe I miss some of the spectacle of it. But when I'm watching my dad perform, I'm just watching my dad perform. So of course I'm proud of him, and I'm this event is so beautiful, and to be welcomed into a community that's so beautiful by GLAAD was an amazing experience for the family. But I was just I love watching my dad perform, and I love the song. If I'm being completely honest, I'm his #1 fan regardless. It's really just, and my mom is also #1 fan. We are both his #1 fan.
Super sweet. Jason, I think, kind of building on that conversation, I think families are going to see you all in this series and the way that you navigate, different roles and responsibilities when it comes to this family dynamic. What advice do you have for families out there that might be, similar to yours, trying to figure it out when it comes to, exes and friends and kids and relationships and new kids and all of that?
I think you have to go, I had to go into it sort of accepting what was, and it was easy to perceive Wayne and Mandie's sort of soul connection, their tight bond, their working relationship. and then Maile was sort of at the center of that. So I never went in like I'm about to be the new daddy, I'm about to be the new parent. It was always sort of using discernment when to step in and when to step away, because Maile needed mom and dad time. Like maybe Mr. J doesn't need to come to this recital because it just takes away from the, from her experience. So I think it's one, relationships take time. So patience is super, super like top priority. It takes time, and then see where you can be of service, whether that's stepping in or whether that's removing yourself, and let the relationships unfold in the most natural way possible, and always continue to work on yourself. And you'll find everyone will find their way, you know what I mean, and find their way into the family, find their role. But patience and acceptance and self-development would be my,
words
that would be my advice.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Wayne, I feel like, when you're younger, you usually are worried about like your parents' approval of who you're dating or who you bring home. Now that you're in this mode, able to date whoever you want, love whoever you want, whoever that person is, do you feel like that they have to kind of pass the test of this group as well, just to make sure that
Absolutely, because this is my squad, and it's, to some people it is unconventional. So you need to know when you walk into this, it's not just me. You are walking into this, and not everybody's built for that. So I say to anybody listening, hey, if you want a shot, you got to go through the three of them first. Like in a video game, those are the three
like Scott Pilgrim.
Yes, like Scott Pilgrim, you got to go through the three bosses.
I mean, and I bet that Maile, you're probably a pretty tough, barrier at the levels of that video game when it comes to your dad finding love, right?
Oh, for sure. But like my criteria it's just like, don't be lame. Like there are just so many lame people, and I don't know. It's just like, don't be a wet blanket. Don't be lame. Be nice to my mom. Like it's not that hard, but you'd be surprised.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, like get over it. Like it's not a big deal. Like I don't know. It's just like people are so irritating sometimes.
You can't fool Maile. Like, I mean, she's actually probably the most fair out of all of us. She's fair and honest, and so
my BS-ometer is like no other.
So if you're not being honest with yourself, you're gonna have a really, really hard time passing that level, because there's no skirty manipulating your way around Maile. She just knows too much. She perceives too much. She's too intuitive.
And I'm like a witchy psychic, so I will be right.
I love it. Right. Well, listen, it is so good to catch up with all of you. I'm so excited. These episodes of Wayne Brady, The Family Remix are going to be rolling out week by week. I've got to see a little bit of it. It's so much fun. I think it's really important conversations. And Wayne, we will work with you at GLAAD forever. We're very excited. But yeah, and I will hopefully see you in person next week at this event that's happening. So it's thanks so much for the time.
Thanks so much, Anthony.